Live from the Jersey Shore to the world. Get up, get out, do something. Wake up with Jeremy Grunin. Take the show wherever you go. Download the free Radio Pup app for your smartphone or tablet. Join the conversation. 732-505-1160. News Talk Radio WOBM AM 1160 and 1310. Listen online at WOBMAM.com.
Welcome back. 7:35 here at the WOBM AM 1160 and 1310 studios overlooking the River Toms. And actually, right in front of me, I have Congressman Tom MacArthur. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, Jeremy, and congratulations on your new radio program.
Yes, I'm looking to parlay this into a full-time syndicated gig. I think it's.
I expect you on national radio any day.
Absolutely. So this is. I don't want to put any pressure on you, but this is my audition reel. So whatever you could do, I'd super appreciate. I've been telling our listeners actually for the last few weeks is what a fantastic advocate you've been for everything we've been doing here at the Jersey Shore, particularly around economic development and supporting what we're trying to move forward from an agenda standpoint. So why don't you let our listeners know specifically kind of what things you are focused on, at the federal level to help move the ball down the field for us here economically.
Okay, well, it's a great question, and there's no one thing that solves all of our issues, but there are certainly a few that are high priorities, both for the nation and South Jersey. And I would put national security and jobs in the economy right at the top of the list. In fact, I just came back late last week from a retreat of the House Republicans, both Senate and House. And as we drilled down on our national priorities, they really struck me that there are local. And it was national security, jobs in the economy, trying to fix this terrible direction we're going in healthcare, trying to help those that are really struggling and increase upward mobility, deal with poverty issues, and restore some balance of power, because we have an administration that, if it doesn't like what we're doing, just seems to want to do it on its own.
Right.
Do it on his own, and that's a problem. So, when I think about how that works locally, national security, we have in this county the only tri-service joint base in the United States, Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst. And that was a good deal of my focus in the last year, was trying to do things in our defense bill that helped preserve that base. And if you'd like, we can talk about some of those.
Yeah,
things.
so I think it's been in the news recently, the KC-46s, and we're in the final 11, I guess, to bring that new tanker to the Joint Base McGuire-Dix-Lakehurst, which would obviously mean an influx of folks to the area, an influx of jobs. And then all the support jobs that go with people just think about the jobs that are on the base. They don't consider what happens to all those support companies all around the base that are bringing jobs to the area. So yeah, I mean, I'd be interested to know, what do you do behind the scenes to help grease the wheels there?
Well, and just to put it in perspective, Jeremy, 40,000 direct jobs at the base translates into a little bit over 100,000 jobs in total, because you're absolutely right. You have all of the local delis and dry cleaners and local businesses that support people. And so it's essential that we preserve the base. I like baseball, and I like baseball analogies. My focus last year was what I would call small ball, a lot of singles and doubles that added up to be a winning game. And what I wanted to get done last year was to make sure that the current tanker, the KC-10, didn't get moved, and I wanted to make sure that the base didn't get put on the chopping block. And so I put 5 amendments into the defense bill. All 5 got signed into law after a long initiative that started last February and culminated in December. But 2 of them dealt just with that. We have precluded the Air Force from moving or retiring the KC-10s for the next 2 years, and no BRAC, no base realignment and closure process, until they come back to us with a whole new examination of what they call extra capacity, because they haven't done that in a decade.
Right.
That alone gives us 2 years of safety, and now we're starting to work on the KC-46. We're down to 11. we're going to get down to one, and we're going to be the last man standing. We will be. That's my focus, is to make sure that this base receives the new air-to-air refueling tanker, which, by the way, for people that don't know, these are basically flying gas stations.
Right.
And they refuel cargo planes, bombers, fighters. They refuel them in midair, which is a big deal because it allows nations all over the world to keep their fighters and bombers closer to home, closer to safety, further away from conflict zones. It allows them to stay in the air longer. It allows them to control the air, and you can't control the ground if you don't control the air.
Sure. So I think based on previous history with what you've said that you're working on, when you say we'll be down to one, I believe you. I'm going to give you a hallelujah right there. I heard Sarah Palin say hallelujah on one of the news segments before, which was disturbing. I hope mine was not nearly as disturbing, but. Moving along, so I know that you are, you talk about how you're getting things done, and I know a lot of that involves bipartisan efforts because, I think no matter how staunch a Republican or a Democrat one might be, I think that everyone would agree that the country could perform at an even higher level if we just worked across party lines for the greater good of society, for whatever that means to whoever you might be. So what kind of bipartisan efforts have you been involved in that you can kind of point to?
Well, everything I've done with Democratic co-sponsors. I strongly believe that how is just as important as what, and I'm not interested in just making noise. I want to get things done, and to do that in a divided government, you have to work with both parties. So the things I just mentioned with the base, I've done with others. Trying to fix the tragedy that has become the Sandy response has also required bipartisan efforts to get both sides to say FEMA has to be accountable for their mistakes, for looking the other way when fraud was taking place. Getting them to reopen claims was a bipartisan effort involving our Democratic senators. I was very involved in that. And as I go forward and reform, I really want to see us reform the way national flood works, the way disaster assistance works. I will get nowhere if I don't get Democrats on board with me. And so for me, that's just sort of a foundational thing, that you get people on both sides together, and that's how you move things forward.
Awesome. So we have to take a quick break. When we come back, though, I do want to get a little deeper insight into your feelings on our foreign policy, current and going forward. We have Congressman Tom MacArthur with us. We'll be right back.
Get more Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin at our website, WOBMAM.com. News Talk Radio, WOBM AM 1160 and 1310.
Welcome back. Wake Up with Jeremy Grunin, 747 on WOBM AM 1160 and 1310, and streaming live on WOBMAM.com and on the Radio Pup app. I have in studio with me Congressman Tom MacArthur. When we broke away, I was teasing we were going to talk foreign policy, but I would absolutely be remiss if we didn't talk about the middle class, because this has been a topic. It seems like a huge tug of war. Every debate. Everyone's talking about who can do a better job helping the middle class. My question for you is a little more simple. It's just, is there any hope for the middle class?
Well, yes, there is. And as important as foreign policy is, I'm actually glad you asked that, because I think people are concerned about our own economy. And if there's one thing that gets me up in the morning, other than the Jeremy Grunin show, but it's that's a plug, Jeremy.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
But if there's one thing that gets me up, it's wanting to make life better for my neighbors, for regular people. That's why I ran. I feel like I've really had a chance to live the American dream, and I grew up, as you know, in a pretty ordinary family, 5 kids, stay-at-home mom, and my dad never made much money. We were happy. We never went without, but we didn't have much. And even in my own life, as a young couple and young family, it was tough going for many years. Now I feel like I've, with some business success, have enjoyed the American dream. I want to see many, many people do that. And there's no single fix, Jeremy, but there are a lot of things we can do. For example, education. We recently reauthorized and changed the Student Success Act to really help young people prepare for the world that they're going to face. The president tried to tax 529s, college saving plans, and Congress said no, that we weren't going to let him do it. And I think it's essential that we make college affordable and we help people save for it. Even just what we did in December with this terribly large funding bill, which I hope we never do another one that big, but we did do some important things for national security and for regular people, for small businesses. We extended a whole host of tax cuts, tax breaks. We lifted the ban on exporting energy, which should lower heating costs, which finally we have some cold now. And I'm glad that we can drive heating costs down and as we get into the heart of the winter. So there's a lot of things I think we can do to help people keep more of their hard-earned money. I'd much rather see my neighbors spending it in the local economy than it going to a bunch of bureaucrats in Washington to spend on who knows what.
Right. And, to your point, when you talk about, energy bills, et cetera, we had the former president of the Holiday City at Berkeley Association here, one of the largest and oldest retirement communities, came in last week to talk to us. And when I asked her what the biggest thing she would change about the Ocean County economy is for the seniors in her community, she actually brought up the fact that her Comcast bill is her most difficult issue for folks in Holiday City, because they can't ever zero in on what the bill is going to be month to month and
try to read it.
Right. Yes, try to read it. And on a fixed income, when your bill is fluctuating by $40, $50, that's a big deal. So when you talk about, when you talk about to what the average folks may say is, oh, well, how much money are they saving on a heating bill? This makes a big difference in a lot of people's lives.
Well, and our seniors, for the third time in the last 7 years, our seniors are not getting a cost of living increase in Social Security. I think we've got the wrong formula, and I'm one of those in Washington wanting to change it, because our seniors may not be seeing higher costs at the pump right now, but they are most certainly paying more for housing, for food, clothing, basic things that keep inching up every year, and we've got to make sure that Social Security keeps pace.
Awesome. Congressman, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know both of us have 8 o'clock meetings to actually get to, so I thank you again. You do owe me a foreign policy discussion at some point in the future.
Happy to come back.
And again, thank you so much. Congressman Tom MacArthur, we'll be right back.